I-40 at Pellissippi.
You're watching WBIR-TV, home of the 96 Olympic Games.
The political rumble over abortion intensifies. Both parties are deeply divided this election year. At a Ku Klux Klan rally in Michigan, it was the anti-Klan demonstrators who were arrested. O.J. Simpson is planning a fundraiser to help battered women. Some people in Los Angeles are upset about it. This is NBC Nightside for Sunday, June the 23rd. Good morning. Welcome to NBC Nightside. I'm Tom Miller. It's nice to have you with us this morning. As the election of '96 draws closer, it's clear that neither the Democrat nor the Republican Party is unified over the abortion issue. The infighting in the GOP is especially fierce in Texas. That has some Republicans wondering whether this weekend's Texas State Convention is a precursor to an even bigger showdown at the National Convention in August. We have more from NBC's Gwen Eiffel.
In Texas this weekend, Republican conflicts over abortion were on open and lively display.
You're not. You started it, man. You started it.
Anti-abortion activists even tried to kick Republican Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson off the delegation to the National Republican Convention. As he campaigned this week, Bob Dole was still dealing with the controversy he caused by suggesting that his party allow some room in its anti-abortion convention platform for other points of view.
Stay strong and pro-life.
Don't worry, yes. We don't want to drive anybody out of the party either.
That has enraged key segments of the anti-abortion community, including the Reverend James Dobson, who heads the giant Christian group Focus on the Family. And Pat Buchanan, who spoke at the Texas convention. He has conceded the nomination, but he'll come to the convention with more than 100 delegates.
If the people in the convention in San Antonio will reaffirm it today, I will lead that battle to keep it in our platform in San Diego in 1996.
Dole and Clinton are polar opposites when it comes to abortion rights. But even Democrats are not exempt from the abortion wars this year. In April, Clinton vetoed a bill to ban a controversial procedure that allows some pregnancies to be terminated almost up until delivery if doctors determine that there is a threat to the child or the mother. There were quick condemnations from religious groups. The Baptists, Clinton's own denomination, wrote that so-called partial birth abortions are inhumane and unconscionable. And Catholic bishops wrote the president that allowing the procedure to continue moves our nation one step further toward acceptance of infanticide.
What we're seeing here in these massive numbers of people responding is some people who take the label pro-choice, who think that the partial birth abortion just goes too far.
The National Abortion Rights Action League, which sees Clinton as an ally, says the late-term abortion debate is an overblown distraction.
This strategy was designed specifically to put President Clinton into a difficult spot and to use as a weapon against politicians who stand against this interference into women's medical decisions.
The Democrats, with their incumbent ticket already in place, stand a good chance of containing any disagreements at their nominating convention in Chicago. But Bob Dole and the Republicans are already bracing for a vigorous floor fight at their convention in San Diego. Gwen Eiffel, NBC News, Washington.
On Saturday, Bob Dole used a Republican national radio address to attack the White House as unethical. Dole called the most recent scandal to rock the White House, the alleged abuse of FBI files, just the latest example of a, quote, pattern of ethical arrogance within the Clinton administration. Dole says the president has abused his powers, violated privacy rights, and stonewalled investigators. President Clinton was in Ohio Saturday speaking at the U.S. Mayor's Conference, where he offered no reply to the ethics charges from Dole. Clinton used his speech to unveil a national tracking system for sex offenders. The president told the mayors he'll push for a law establishing a national registry to follow offenders wherever they go. He gave Attorney General Janet Reno 2 months to come up with a plan to help local police departments. Meantime, the White House faces a Wednesday deadline to turn over more than 2,000 pages of travel office files or face contempt of Congress charges. House Speaker Newt Gingrich said White House officials cannot continue to, quote, stonewall, obstruct, delay, and lie. The White House says it doesn't have to turn over the records, claiming executive privilege. In the Middle East, Arab leaders have urged Israel to prove its commitment to peace. Israel handed over the reins of power to a more conservative government last week, led by new Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. During the campaign, Netanyahu promised a slower approach to the peace process, one in which his primary concern would be what he called the real security of the Israeli people. That has caused concern among leaders of the Arab world, so much so that they're gathering in Cairo for their first summit in 6 years. NBC's Tom Aspel is there.
As 21 Arab kings, presidents, crown princes and prime ministers met for their first summit in 6 years, topic A was Israel and Arab fears that the Jewish state's new right-wing government may stall the Middle East peace process. Unlike other Arab summits in the last 50 years, this one's not to threaten or warn the Jews. It's an appeal to Israel not to abandon the principle of trading land for peace with its neighbors. Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak told the opening session that Arabs insist on pursuing the road of peace. None of us wishes to return to war and destruction, he said. But most of the leaders here worry the whole peace process could wither and die if Israel backs away from the land for peace principle.
If Israel does not respect this formula, of course, the Arab countries will have to go back to the United States and ask the United States to live up to its responsibility.
With American backing, the previous Israeli government worked to establish diplomatic and trade relations with some Arab states. Now, Arab leaders may feel compelled to freeze these links or even cancel them altogether. The Cairo summit is a chance for old enemies here to show a little courtesy to each other in bilateral meetings away from the conference hall. Syria's President Assad met with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat for the first time in 3 years. But Arab sources tell NBC News these bilateral meetings were only cosmetic. There are some divisions in the Arab world simply too deep to heal at a 2-day summit. Instead, the focus is on finding ways to persuade Israel to stay on track and respect previous agreements based on the principle of land for peace. Tom Aspel, NBC News, Cairo.
The nation of Greece is mourning the death of former Prime Minister Andreas Papandreou. He died of a heart attack early this morning at his home in Athens. He was the first socialist Prime Minister of Greece, riding a wave of anti-American sentiment to power in 1981. Papandreou went to Harvard, and he lived in the U.S. for years. His father, George Papandreou, had also been Prime Minister. Andrea Papandreou dead at the age of 77. Missouri Congressman Bill Emerson lost a 7-month battle to lung cancer Saturday. The 8-term Republican was running for re-election, representing Missouri's 8th district. Emerson was 58. A Ku Klux Klan membership drive in Ann Arbor, Michigan turned violent Saturday. More than 1,000 people turned out to protest a demonstration by 15 Klan members. Police had to use tear gas to control the crowd after they attacked the Klan members. 2 people were hurt in the scuffle. We get more from NBC's Bob Bennett.
Dressed in a Confederate flag and motorcycle gang-type attire, this man was on his way to take part in the KKK rally at Ann Arbor City Hall. He didn't make it. A black female in the crowd protected him from serious injury by shielding his head. Dazed and bruised, he was taken into protective custody by police. Ann Arbor is a fairly affluent town with a long tradition of liberalism. Despite that, the Klan decided to rally here as part of a recruiting drive.
I think everybody has the right to speak, but you should keep your opinions to a degree where it's acceptable without raising issues that would be a complete violation of everybody else's right.
Much of the Klan's speech was drowned out by the protesters. Unable to get at the Klan, some in the crowd began taunting police. Finally, several police officers were stoned. They retaliated by using tear gas and pepper spray. At one point, the streets around City Hall resembled a war zone. The crowd finally dispersed, and the Klan members, most of them from Indiana, departed from Ann Arbor. Bob Bennett for NBC News in Detroit.
O.J. Simpson is planning to hold a black tie fundraiser at his Brentwood estate later this week to benefit a Los Angeles spousal abuse group. Simpson says he wants to show his support for battered women because he's against violence of any kind. But Simpson's own documented history of abuse is causing many people to question his motives. Tracy Savage reports.
Mohammed Nasruddin, board member of Stop the Violence, Increase the Peace, a group which, among many things, fights spousal abuse, says O.J. Simpson approached his nonprofit organization a few weeks ago asking if he could help.
He came up and offered to do anything that he could, including having the use of his home to have a fundraiser.
Even with O.J. Simpson's record of spousal abuse, we've seen the pictures of a battered Nicole Brown Simpson, the group accepted the offer. The fundraiser is this Thursday night at Simpson's Brentwood home. About 500 people have been invited to attend. The group is looking for a donation from each guest, from $100 to $10,000.
We're not about individuals and Stop the Violence, Increase the Peace. We're about abating violence from the society, eliminating it, and it takes a lot of effort. No matter how we can do it, and if as long as a person is sincere.
And although Nasruddin believes Simpson is sincere in his desire to help, already there are skeptics speaking out.
I don't question his motives. I know his motives. This is simply a cynical attempt at image building.
Tammy Bruce of the Women's Progress Alliance, an organization with O.J. Simpson, Stop the Violence, will be sending out the wrong message.
You do not align yourselves with the antithesis of what your message is supposed to be. And it's unfortunate because this city already does not have enough advocates for women.
We can't possibly turn our backs on anyone who's trying to change their lives, because that's our job. That's what we do.
Stop the Violence says that he's repentant, and they forgive and embrace people who are repentant. The last statement I heard Mr. Simpson make is that he never hurt his wife. So has he confessed to them?
Mohammed Nasruddin believes Simpson at least deserves a chance to prove he can change. Tracy Savage, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Still to come on NBC Nightside, paging criminal parolees. It could be a cheap and effective way to keep up with those who are on probation. And coming up next, putting deadbeat dads to work.
Because of this job, now I can provide for my family the legal way.
A new government program tries to put families back together by giving fathers a second chance.
This filter was taken from a furnace humidifier. Look at how it's completely clogged by calcium and lime deposits. These are the same hard water deposits that make your shower doors and wall tiles so dull and nearly impossible to clean. It's these same calcium and lime deposits that clog your shower heads and make them spray in all directions. And it's these same minerals that affect the taste of your coffee and make coffee pots, vases, and urns look like they've been permanently stained. Ceramics and plastics don't rust, but the minerals in your water cause stains like these in your bathtubs, wash basins, and toilet bowls. And just look at these ugly brown rust stains caused by your lawn sprinklers. But watch what happens when this filter is dipped in CLR. Clear, perhaps the most remarkable household cleaner you've ever used. Yes, CLR Clear cleans the hard water stains from your bathroom tile and shower doors. Just dip your malfunctioning shower head in CLR and instantly it works like new. Pour a little CLR in seemingly etched crystal glass or coffee decanters and all the stains disappear. And watch how easily CLR wipes away those unsightly bathtub and basin stains. Nothing else removes rust stains from cement, stucco, and brick on your home, fence, and driveway as easily. Yes, if CLR can clean a filter this badly clogged with hard water minerals, then you know how fast and easily it will work for you. Try it once and you'll never use another cleaner again. We guarantee it or your money back.
CLR is available at Walgreens, Ace, Winn-Dixie, Eckert, Target, True Value, Kroger, Thrifty Payless Drug, Kmart.
If you need a Visa credit card, we have a special offer just for you. We guarantee to give you a credit card with no security deposit required, regardless of your past credit history. Almost everyone will be approved for a Visa card, even if you've been turned down before. If you meet our minimum requirements, your approval is guaranteed. Our offer is for an unsecured credit card. This means that you are not required to send in a security deposit. Don't miss this limited offer to obtain a Visa card with no security deposit. Call our number now. An application will be sent to you immediately.
A new federally funded program tries to turn deadbeat dads into responsible parents. But this government program is unique. It works by putting fathers to work. NBC's Rahima Ellis explains.
The public housing projects in Hartford, Connecticut. Here, 85% of the households are headed by women. The City Housing Authority is offering a second chance to deadbeat dads who choose to change. Ben Compton, the father of 2 children, grew up in these projects. He joined a gang here, was imprisoned for selling drugs here, and was separated from his children for 2 years. But now he is rebuilding his life here.
Because of this job, now I can provide for my family the legal way.
Compton's job is with a wrecking company, removing hazardous materials from abandoned housing units. He gets to keep the job only if he supports and stays involved with his children. It's all part of the Hartford Housing Authority's Family Restoration Program. And it begins with an agreement in writing.
I'm here to talk to you today more specifically about the family reunification contract.
The men in this federally funded program, along with the mothers of their children, are required to sign a contract of responsibility. Among other things, both must agree to be actively involved in their children's lives and to stay away from drugs and drug dealers. The men are required to submit to random testing. The men must also get a high school diploma or equivalent. And a substantial portion of the money they earn must be used to support their family. The jobs can pay up to $45,000 a year, including benefits. The idea is to build families using a good-paying job as the carrot and daily accountability as the stick. Juan Ramos has 4 children from 2 relationships. He is a former drug dealer and user.
Most people, they look at a person that used to use drugs or they got a record as a real bad person, as a no good person. Not too many people will give you an opportunity.
Victor Rush runs the program. He grew up in public housing and credits his mother and father with teaching him about life's basic obligations. Lessons he's now trying to pass on to these men.
I mean, if my father didn't put anything else in me, it was responsibility, and it was providing for your family and doing what you needed to do that. I mean, if that meant working 2 jobs to make that happen, then you did that.
For Ben Compton and his family, the Family Restoration Program has brought hope and a new set of dreams.
My dream right now is to give my baby his own backyard to play in without having to worry about stray bullets and things like that.
For Juan Ramos, the program is bringing the joy that comes after a hard day's work.
How would you be?
And the hope the troubles that pulled his first family apart are now behind him.
So in life you make mistakes, but also God gives you opportunity to make up for your mistakes. Probably this is my chance God's given me.
Rahima Ellis, NBC News.
All right, let's get a look at today's weather forecast now. Skies are going to be clearing today throughout much of the East Coast as a high-pressure system moves in from Canada. The South and the Plain states will get scattered showers and thunderstorms. Much of the West will be dry and mild, but look for showers across the Pacific Northwest into Northern California. Now, as we check Nightside city-by-city forecast, we travel to Michigan, where a tornado ripped through the community of Frankenmuth earlier this weekend.
Well, if my check is $100, I get back $20. If my check is $300, I get back $60. If it's $600, I get back $120.
Introducing a special invitation from Dining a la Carte, a 2-month trial membership for free.
We have dinner, just like always, add on my tip and everything else, and hand in my Visa card. At the end of the month, we see a check. It says whatever restaurant and Tarantino's, and we've got our 20% back off from the bill.
Dining a la Carte works with your credit cards. There are no embarrassing coupons and never any restaurant blackout periods.
I love the amount of money that I've saved with Dining a la Carte. I've saved well over $1,000.
I've recommended it to friends because it has worked so well for me. I like especially the part that no one knows that you're using it.
Just dine at participating restaurants. In about 30 days, you'll receive a statement listing the restaurants you dined at with a rebate check that equals 20% of your total restaurant charges, including tax and tips.
One thing that I liked about the program was just that it's so easy. I mean, you use your card like you would if you had nothing going on, no coupons or anything, and you get a check in the mail, you know, a couple weeks later. It's just so simple. It's the way to go.
As an attorney, I'm frequently in a position of entertaining clients, and using dining a la carte permits me to do so more often and gives me a great selection of restaurants to choose from.
Dining a la carte is a good thing for people who like to go out for dinners and like to save money.
And here's your special invitation. Call right now for a free 2-month trial membership. Then dine at thousands of restaurants and get 20% rebate checks mailed to your home. So call the number on your screen now.
Dining a la carte is earning extra money.
Just for eating out.
This is not a weather report. Kurt has sports, but let me tell you, I'm going to tell you about Dan O'Brien and the Olympic tryouts. It was 121 heat index in Atlanta Saturday.
That's
highest
right.
in the country.
And Dan's the man. Once again, that long wait since '92 has been worth it, Tom. Decathlete Dan O'Brien took a giant step Saturday towards erasing his bitter disappointment of failing to make the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona. Let's take you back in time to the '92 Olympic track and field trials in New Orleans. O'Brien failed to clear any height in one of his best events, the pole vault, and did not qualify for the Olympic team. Well, Saturday in Atlanta, a much different story. O'Brien chased the ghosts that haunted him. Clearing 17 feet, 3/4 of an inch, O'Brien won the pole vault and assured himself a spot in the Atlanta Games, winning the decathlon at the U.S. Olympic track and field trials.
Personal best. I'm ecstatic, you know. It was hard. It was really hard in that last event. I was dehydrated. I got 4 IVs. It was a hard 2 days. It was the hardest decathlon ever, but, you know, a couple of great events came through for me, the pole vault and the javelin. So I had a personal best in javelin, and all I'm looking forward to is a solid 6 weeks of training. I'm going to come back here and really give the world record a shot.
Earlier in the day in Atlanta, sprinter Michael Johnson gave the crowd a thrill, advancing to the finals of the 200 meters. Johnson blazed around the track in a time of 19.70 seconds. That mark would have been a world record, but Johnson's effort was aided by a tailwind. Johnson and Carl Lewis have both qualified for the 200 final. A very inspiring story coming out of the Olympic diving trials at Indianapolis on Saturday. This is Mary Ellen Clark, an athlete who's had to overcome vertigo, a condition that could have ended her diving career. Clark won the women's 10-meter platform event, a plunge that's equivalent to leaping off a 3-story building. Clark and Becky Rule will represent the U.S. in the women's 10-meter platform in Atlanta. In golf, John Cook is simply tearing up the course at the PGA St. Jude Classic in Memphis. This is Cook's approach to the par 4 13th hole. This shot stiff to the pin, setting up a birdie that moved him to 22 under par. Cook's round of 8 under 63 puts him 24 under for the tournament. That is a new PGA 54-hole record. John Cook has a 6-shot lead. A boatload of baseball highlights on the way later in the hour. For now, here's a look at the scoreboard.
Losing weight can be so frustrating. You try to eat less, but then you get hungry. You try to eat right, but you're faced with temptations. The people at Dexatrim understand this, and so do I. I lost 8 pounds with Dexatrim. Just 1 maximum strength Dexatrim in the morning helped me control my appetite all day. It gave me the willpower to overcome temptations. So I ate less and lost weight. If you want to lose weight, try the Dexatrim plan today. Dexatrim. Get the willpower, lose the weight.
This is about how your business can build new profit centers without bulldozing your budget. About looking bigger than you are. This is about call centers, people, and technology that can capture new customers, answer questions, and process orders 24 hours a day. And it's not just for the rich, the powerful, or the daring. Because there's a way you can get the help, hardware, software, and advanced toll-free service to create your call center. All you have to know is how. Network MCI, that's how.
I can't get my kids to eat right. All they want is junk food. Yeah. Do they like chocolate milk? Sure.
One way to give them extra nutrition is with rich chocolate Ovaltine. It's got vitamins Nestle Quick and Hershey's don't.
Yeah, it may be good for them, but will they like it?
My kids love it. They absolutely love it.
So my kids will like Ovaltine and it's good for them?
Wow. When my kids want chocolate milk, it's rich chocolate Ovaltine.
Rich chocolate Ovaltine in the new blue package. Tastes great. Great for you. If you need a Visa credit card, we have a special offer just for you. We guarantee to give you a credit card with no security deposit required, regardless of your past credit history. Almost everyone will be approved for a Visa card, even if you've been turned down before. If you meet our minimum requirements, your approval is guaranteed. Our offer is for an unsecured credit card. This means that you are not required to send in a security deposit. Don't miss this limited offer to obtain a Visa card with no security deposit. Call our number now. An application will be sent to you immediately.
The latest animated film from Disney may be a bit of a downer for kids. Nightside Sarah Edwards says The Hunchback of Notre Dame is not your typical happy-go-lucky Disney sing-along.
Go on. Nobody wants to be cooped up here forever.
Tom Hulse is the voice of the lonely bell ringer Quasimodo, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He's confined to the bell tower by his evil master, Frollo.
Remember, Quasimodo. Yes, Master. This is your sanctuary.
He yearns to descend from his isolation. The songs are poignant but unmemorable, written by the award-winning team who scored the music for Pocahontas, Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz.
Just to live one day out there.
Subjected to ridicule by the public, he finds hope when he falls in love with the beautiful gypsy Esmeralda, voiced by Demi Moore.
No, you're not hurt, are you?
No.
See? No harm done.
And Kevin Kline is Phoebus, the soldier who also loves Esmeralda.
What a woman. Arrest her.
The setting is the gritty 15th century Paris, and as Quasimodo struggles to be free, the story is at times sinister and frightening. But Disney lightens things up with the gargoyles.
Hey, Quasi, what's going on out there? A fight? A flogging?
A festival.
You mean a feast of fools?
Uh-huh.
All right. Pour the wine and cut the cheese.
Seinfeld's Jason Alexander, voicing one of the stone figures, is a bright spot in this dark tale. The passion lies in the stunning animation, but it's missing Disney's usual warmth, so it may not hit the right notes for family viewing. The animation is gorgeous, but the theme is more adult in nature. As a family film, The Hunchback of Notre Dame didn't ring my bell. Sarah Edwards for NBC News.
Adult or not, you try to keep your kid from going to the latest Disney film. My daughter can't wait to see it. That's it for this half hour of Nightside. Our headlines are next.
Technology.
It's all about technology. NBC News and Microsoft are a logical partner, so you put those two together, the outcome is formidable.
MSNBC.
We always have accumulated more information than we could get